They say life can change in an instant, a single moment, a single decision, and suddenly, everything you thought was certain crumbles beneath your feet. That's exactly what happened on a quiet afternoon at St. Mary's Medical Center in Houston, a place where people come to heal, to find comfort. But for one man, it became the battleground for a humiliation so deep it set off a chain of events that no one could have predicted. Before we dive into this intense story of betrayal, justice, and redemption, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories like this. Stories that remind us just how unpredictable life can be. James Callahan had seen war. A veteran of the Gulf War, he had spent years serving his country, risking everything. But war hadn't broken him. Life had. After his wife passed away unexpectedly, James found himself alone, battling health issues and the relentless weight of his past. That's what brought him to the hospital that day, walking into a place that should have offered care, but instead served him humiliation on a silver platter. Nurse Olivia Carter had built her career on control, efficiency, discipline, and authority. She didn't have time for small talk, and she certainly didn't have patience for those she deemed unworthy of her attention. So when James, dressed in his worn-out military jacket, walked into her ER, she didn't see a hero, she saw an inconvenience. "Sir, you can't sit here," she said, arms crossed, eyes sharp with irritation. James, weary from pain, merely nodded. "I have an appointment," he said, his voice steady but tired. But Olivia wasn't listening. She was already dismissing him, waving him off toward a corner chair, a place she reserved for those she thought didn't matter. What she didn't know was that this moment, this simple act of cruelty, was about to spiral into something much, much bigger. As James sat, his hands gripping the cane that had become his lifeline, his mind wandered. He thought of his wife, of the promises they had made. He thought of the men he had fought beside, those who never got to come home. And he thought of how, after everything, he was here, unwanted, unseen, but someone was watching. In the far end of the hallway, behind the administrative counter, a young nurse named Emily Parker had seen everything. Unlike Olivia, Emily had grown up in a military family. She knew the weight of sacrifice, and the sight of James being treated with such disdain made her blood boil. She didn't say anything, not yet, but she wouldn't forget. Hours passed. James waited. Others were called before him, some arriving long after he had. The whispers of the staff, the occasional glances, the dismissive looks. It all built up like bricks on his chest, but he stayed quiet. He had fought wars. He could endure this. Then, just when he thought it couldn't get worse, Olivia returned. "You'll have to reschedule," she said flatly. "Doctors unavailable." James looked up, confusion flickering across his face. "I've been waiting for hours." Olivia shrugged. "That's not my problem." But before James could respond, a voice cut through the tension. A firm, unwavering voice. "It is now." Emily stepped forward, her eyes locked on Olivia. "Colonel Callahan had an appointment. He's been waiting. He deserves to be treated." Olivia scoffed. "Colonel, please, that doesn't mean anything here." Emily didn't flinch. "It should." The room went silent. The weight of those words settled over the air like a storm about to break. And then it did. The automatic doors at the entrance slid open, and suddenly the sterile hospital air was filled with the sound of boots. Heavy, synchronized, purposeful. A group of uniformed soldiers, led by a man with steel-gray hair and a jaw set in determination, stepped into the hospital. General Robert Stanton. The moment Olivia saw him, her breath caught. She knew that name. Everyone did. He walked straight to James, his expression unreadable. Then, in a moment that sent shockwaves through the hospital, he saluted. "Colonel Callahan," he said, his voice filled with respect. "It's an honor." James, stunned, hesitated before returning the salute. Olivia's face drained of color. "This man," Stanton continued, turning to the room, "is not just a veteran. He's a decorated war hero. He saved lives. He sacrificed for this country." His gaze swept over the staff. "And this is how you treat him?" The shame in the air was palpable. The hospital director arrived moments later, alerted by the commotion. After a brief but brutal conversation, Olivia was escorted out, fired. Justice had been served, but the story wasn't over. James, ever the man of honor, didn't revel in her downfall. Instead, he turned to Emily, the one person who had stood up for him, and smiled. "Thank you," he said simply. She shook her head. "No, sir, thank you." Months passed. James, with the help of Emily and General Stanton, became an advocate for veterans, ensuring no soldier was ever treated the way he had been. And Olivia? She disappeared from the medical world, her reputation shattered. But redemption comes in many forms. One day, James received a letter. No name, no return address, just a single sentence: "I'm sorry." He knew who it was from, and for the first time in a long time, he felt at peace. If you made it to the end of this powerful story, comment "Honor never fades" below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of the strength in standing up for what's right. If this story moved you, imagine a full 20-minute version. More intense, more emotional, more real. Every week I create 2 powerful members-only stories that go deeper and hit harder. They're not on the main channel, and they're the ones I'm most proud of. Join the Story Seeker Club by clicking join below and get 8 exclusive cinematic stories every month. If you love this kind of storytelling, you're going to love what I've been saving for you.